Alright, so now let's get into crawling, right? So crawling should have already happened. It's harder to tell if it's been crawled, right? Like it's not just showing up somewhere that it's crawled. Google Search Console can help you know if it's crawled or not. Another really big tool we'll show you in just a second. But the problem is when you publish your website, you wait to search for it on Google, right? And if you don't search for it on Google, then it's not going to get crawled, right? I mean, that's just the order of things normally. So you want to add things to your site so it can get crawled, like sitemaps, like services, stuff like that. There's a bunch of different avenues to go, um, but we'll walk you through each step of the way and a couple misconceptions as well. Of course, let's get started right now, right? So, crawling. Alright, so the first thing you can do is look for the URL, right? So, what you want to do is first, we're testing it, right? So, to test, we want to go into the address bar on Google and type site colon colon, and then it's going to be your domain .com or whatever your domain is right here, and that's either going to tell you yes or no, is it crawled. And that one's easy, so we'll just leave it at that to see if it is crawled or not. I mean, it's not like you get a notification, it's nothing super easy. You still have to go into it. Googlebot will also tell you, but this one, it's just so easy um, to look at and to see, so we won't get into that. Um, so now we assume that the test spin's done, the test is done, right? If it failed, we're going to continue. If it didn't, you're already good. Move on to the next thing, you're already crawled. If you want to learn more about it, or what some failures are, I'm going to do that right now. So the first is the discourages search engines box, right? So that is normally on places like WordPress, like Shopify. So discourage Google button. So if you have this clicked, obviously just unclick it, right? And then it'll take some time for Google to realize that you've undone it, but it will search for you now. So, and then if you don't have if you do have a no index tab, no tag, sorry, tag. Those are your meta tags. If you don't know what those are, just look them up. It's a whole nother topic, these meta tags. But if you have no index on the tag for your meta, then you obviously don't want to be indexed. That's the whole point of the tag, is so that you can opt out of Google's indexing, right? So not only that, but there's these things called sitemaps. They show you a structure to your site, and if you don't have one of these, or if you have no index on the sitemap, or it's no crawl, something like that, not allowing a robot, that can really cause a lot of problems. And then lastly is robots.txt, which is another file that limits robots, right? So if you have your homepage in the robots.txt, it will not search it if you have it in the correct format, right? Now that's only really technical. Normally it's the first thing here, but these rest three are if you have more access to your site in itself. So the next thing to look at is what can we do about it, right? So the first thing to do about it is to get a sitemap. /robots.txt. That's more for the technical, of course. Then after you've got that sitemap or roadmap, you have to go to Search Console and submit sitemap. And after you've done all of those, you want to realize that right now, no one's going to your site at all, right? And that's a big problem. That's because it's not being crawled. That's the first step of the three that Google goes through. So just get motivated and take action, right? So those are the actions, your easy fixes, and the test. Of course, the actions and easy fixes go along, but these are actually like easy problems, more or less, and easy fixes. So now that we're done with that, right, let's move on to internal link usage, right? So with crawling, it needs to know where to go, and it will use the sitemap. Don't get me wrong, it'll definitely use the sitemap, but it will also want a link connected to it on the page itself, so it not just the sitemap. Like there actually has to be a link that people go to, and then it'll go there too. You know, it doesn't want to just go to a bunch of random content. So the first thing to do with the sitemap structure or links, these are internal links. The first thing to do is to place them on homepage. Of course, accordingly. Sometimes it's in a footer. If there's other information around it, you can just link to it. Another big thing is to have more of a flat structure. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have your sitemap, right? And the sitemap goes like this, or you can go here. Like each of these endpoints is like a page, right? Like all this different complicated stuff, right? Someone might from here want to go to here, but it's like you have to go all the way back. Alright, so now if I want to go to here, or vice versa, right, that's going to be way more difficult. So instead of doing that, so that's non-flat, right? You want something like this. You know, you got like, you start here, you end here, you can just easily jump over. And of course, there's going to be like those branch sites, right? Like, not everything's going to be that easy. But it's real easy to go from here to here, because you can just go straight back here, you know, follow the path. This one's way more complicated, like where do I go, what do I have to click? There's a lot of different things, and sometimes they all lead back to the first one. But anyways, this one's better. This flat structure is better, right? So, and then you want to make sure to use the anchor text correctly, right? And what is anchor text? So the anchor text is the visible text. So that's the thing that the user sees. That's what gets them to click on it, right? That can be a button, that can be an alt tag for an image. You know, there's a lot of different things. A tags can be wrappers as well. I mean, the huge thing, just make sure you're using them and actually have something there, or the crawler won't see that as well. So while you're in the Google Search Console, there are some other things you can do. So I'll call this section nudging it, because we just want stuff to be done. So first thing you can do is request indexing. You do this once and once only. You're going to use Google Search Console. You can use that as an acronym, but I will not. Alright, the next thing that you can possibly do is to ping other services, right? So ping others to pick you up and get on your site, so then Google prioritizes it. Now this is only after you've done everything else, right? This is more of like a last resort, because it can like bounce back at you. If you do a lot of requests for indexing, they kind of audit you a little bit. It's difficult. So yeah, after you've done all those last things of nudging, let's now get into a couple of the myths, right? A couple things that are just not true at all. So now we're in the myths. So the first myth is submitting it harder. So spamming the submit, so spamming submit does not equal increased chance. So it actually, like, spamming submit can get you blocked / delist from Google in general. So like all their content, or not content, well, all their guidelines, if you don't follow them, right, you can get in deep trouble, because then you're just not on Google at all, which You know, that's pretty bad. At least on the organic traffic. Like I've got no organic traffic right now. I'm indexed though, but you can't just keep on spamming to get crawled, right? People, it's gonna take time. You can't just, or everyone would do that, right? So sitemaps don't do anything forcing wise. So what is a sitemap? Is everything. So it's not. What the hell? Right, so the sitemap doesn't really do everything. If you have other things blocking it, it will still block it. Sitemap's really important. If you don't have that, definitely add it, right? But it's not absolutely everything. There are other things to focus on, right? So the do sites don't get crawled instantly. That's another big misconception. But more pages meaning more crawling, that's just not the case, right? So more pages does not equal more crawling. You actually have a budget that they set for like each domain, right? For your crawling on how much compute can be used. And if you go past that, they'll stop crawling you for a specific time. I'm pretty sure it gets like renewed. I'm not 100% sure with all that. You'd have to look more into it, but it's definitely something to focus on. More pages does not equal better. I didn't really focus on that at all. That's really important. And then after you're done, right? We'll go to the next page for this because it's kind of cutting off. After you're done, so maintenance, right? At least that's what you're supposed to do with things after you're done buying them, is, or getting them done, is to remove all the pings, remove flags from everything, right? That you did to the Google Search Console because you wanted to get looked at. So you also want patience, right? Because this stuff takes weeks, not hours. So it can be a long time until your site gets ready, right? But that's only like the public view. You can still edit your site, right? Don't get me wrong. It's just the crawling that's done of getting indexed can take some time. So it's some patience is really key here. So let's recap everything real quick. Start from the beginning. The first thing you want to do is to see if you need any of these other steps, so do the test. Second, you want to do all the easy fixes, then the actions to your easy fixes and to others, right? And then next you want to look at your internal links. We'll get to external and backlinks later, but right now we're focusing on the internal ones. Then you want to nudge the system if it's still taking too long, right? So after you've nudged it, you want to get over some myths. We touch on them a little bit. There's one that's really important there. And then you want to look at your maintenance, right? You want to be patient. It takes weeks, not hours. And you want to remove all the flags out there that you already set. So that's what you can do. That's basically the main gist of everything. And if you need more resources, I'm always available. You can email me. I have my my script here with a bunch of more information that I didn't get to say. But yeah, that's basically the main gist of it.